Brandon Birmingham has been with us for much of the Williams trial. So Brandon, we appreciate you being here with us tonight. He's a state district judge-elect who is the chief felony prosecutor for the Dallas County DA. You are in court today.
Yes.
And you were telling me earlier tonight that you have never heard anything like this. Testimony from Kim Williams, just chilling.
Well, it was chilling when you consider what it is they were setting out to do and sort of interwoven with everyday tasks. Bill Werski asked the question, how did that day start? Well, we woke up and we fed the puppies, and then we armed ourselves, and we figured out where we were going to park, and then we went in and committed this horrible murder. For Mark Cassie, they described it as not going with plan A but plan B, which was a tombstone killing, and that was to do it right out in front of everybody so that everybody would sort of be frozen and nobody would really know what to do. And you know what? It worked. They got away with that murder for about 2 months.
But she was just so matter of fact. And I mean, a couple of times we saw her swallow somewhat hard, but for the majority, she was just so, here's what we did.
Yeah, it was kind of like relaying a recipe or something.
Right.
You know, it was just a checklist. We did this, we did that, we did the dirty deed, and then we get in the car, and what was the mood? Well, we were happy, we were elated, we were excited about what happened.
Satisfied, too, is one of
Satisfied is another word that she used. And when you, now that the jury has seen those awful crime scene pictures, remember, they saw the video of those brave officers trying to save Mark Cassie's life. They see that transposed with Kim Williams and Eric Williams inside that car, happy and elated. Meanwhile, the courtroom was full of the family members of these victims, and they were understandably, visibly upset. It must have been horrendous for them to sit through that, but they bravely did so.
Well, using the word horrendous, listen to this bite. This is Kim Williams talking about the murders of Cynthia and Mike McClellan.
He didn't tell me about Mike, but he told me about Mrs. McClellan.
What did he tell you about how Cynthia McClellan died?
He told me that he had to shoot her an extra time because she was still moaning.
Still moaning. It's disturbing. I know you watched the family. You watched Kim. What was the feeling in the courtroom like when folks hear that?
There's always those moments in a trial, and this was one of those moments where it was very quiet. Everybody was hanging on her words. The feeling that I was there, the word that comes to mind was outrage. I couldn't believe that she was describing how this quiet quilter is described to her is described by Bill Werski. This quiet quilter, this mother, this wife, this lady who was suffering from Parkinson's disease, had the audacity to moan her dying breath, and Eric Williams made sure that she was gone by shooting her in the head with an AR-15. I mean, it is astonishing, and it makes people speechless, and that was sort of the feeling in the courtroom this afternoon.
And just calling her collateral damage.
Well, and that's the other thing. Describe her, please. It was collateral damage. I mean, this is a living, breathing human being. And as Toby Shook said in his closing arguments, Eric's mind is what makes him dangerous. And it is his mind that hatched all of these plans, and it was carried out with perfection. They got away with this killing for a long time.
Well, you mentioned recipe a couple of minutes ago. This almost was, okay, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. It's just very planned and step-by-step methodical. It
was very methodical. It was very tactical. It was planned. It was well thought out, even for what he was wearing. He modeled his clothes for his wife the night before he killed the McClellans. This is what I'm going to wear. It was dark. I mean, every detail was thought out, planned out ahead of time. It was premeditated. It was malice aforethought. And all of those things the state tried to use to prove that Eric Williams was a danger to society, and also that there was nothing mitigating to spare his life.
And so that's what the jury members are going to be talking about first thing tomorrow morning.
Yes. There are two questions. Is he a danger in the future in whatever society he finds himself, in prison, out of prison? And if they say yes unanimously to that, then the second question is there anything mitigating in his background? The defense spent a lot of time with his friends growing up, a lot of time on that mitigation second question. It only takes one.
So when you're looking at the jury members, anything that you could pick up or that you could read, were they looking at Kim and at Eric, and kind of what were they doing?
When I was watching Kim Williams testify, those jurors were focused solely on her. They were looking right at her. They were looking at the lawyer. It was kind of like the tennis match. They were absolutely enthralled by that, as was everybody in the courtroom.
What about Eric? What was he doing? Because in the beginning of his trial, before he was found guilty, sort of arrogant and cocky, and then it sort of changed, the head bowed. How was he today?
Today he was talking with his lawyers. I noticed that it's almost as if he was reminding them of some things to say. I mean, I don't know what they were saying, but I mean, he was in their ear quite a bit more than he had been for the previous part of the entire trial.
Any idea on a timeline? That jury's sequestered now. It's the holidays. I know it's a busy time for a lot of folks. Any sort of timeline you're thinking at all?
Well, I think that one of the possibilities is they could have gone home to sleep on this because this is a big decision. They heard a lot of evidence. They could come in the morning, grab some coffee, make sure after a good night's sleep this is what they want to do. It could be there's 1 or 2 holdouts, or it could be that they've already made their decision. They just want to give this its due course and its due consideration.
All right, Brandon, we appreciate it. We know you're going to stay with us and keep watching this as these jury members have a lot to talk about.
Thank you very much for having me back.
Thank you.